shall use good materials and shall cheat in nothing. And if he does cheat, he shall be penalized. An individual who sells something will be punished by God if what he sells is not of the quality represented. And this was 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. But no matter what we do or how hard we try, we will never make those thoughts untrue. They cannot be changed. And if you don't believe that, watch what's happening today and see how everything is being shotted and nobody is happy about anything. The integrities are the basis of spiritual growth. And the life and the race and the people who have achieved integrity will have no problems to worry about here or in times to come. So don't worry too much. If you're interested in finding out a little bit about the integrities of life, history is a good start. It's very impersonal, and if it's well written, it tells you what happened to other people when they did the things we are doing. We will learn when they did it right what happened that was good, and when they did it wrong how punishment was inevitable. From these things and from the study of comparative religion, you will come to understand the principles of integrities. You will come to understand the importance of the realization of universal brotherhood. You will come to the realization of the importance of accepting the normal responsibilities of life, not only with resolution, but with joy. That everything that is necessary is right, and that it is our privilege and opportunity to understand these right things and rejoice in them. We should not feel that a virtue is something we must sacrifice much for. A virtue is something that will help us not to sacrifice our entire life for nothing. So all these points and principles are part of the problem of teaching. Now what shall we say about how you're going to recommend this to somebody? I think the only way to do it is to realize that in the world today there is an abundant literature by various religions of all times, by means of which the individual can get a brief summary or an elaborate discussion of the great integrities of life and the moral values which mankind has experienced through thousands of years of life. These various instructions will tell the person what good people have thought, what wise people have tried to live, and it will also help us to realize why today we honor and practically deify a handful of great dedicated spiritual persons who have become the foundations of civilization and of everything we hope for, everything we believe. We remember Jesus, who had no place to lay his head, but today is probably the most universally honored of human beings. We believe and recognize the great values that have come from dedication to principles. And we realize that these dedications are not dead, that we will never be so wise and scientific that we can get along without honesty. But all real science will lead us back to honesty. We must gradually recognize the use of knowledge. Knowledge is to prove to us the things we need to know, not that we hope, but that which we know. Therefore, science is to give us a new skill to understand the universe so that we may obey it and venerate it. Art gives us a new instrument by means of which we can picture forth our own inner interpretations of universal beauty. Music is indeed the music of the spheres that Pythagoras heard. It is the power to put all arts into a harmonic relationship. Music is the symbolism of universal harmony, and when it is variously distorted, it destroys its own consequences. Healing is the art of helping to restore the balance of the body, but is not possible to be completed without the unfoldment of the internal resources of the soul. Law is in order to keep us in a reasonable relationship with each other. Laws are most of them devised from ancient sources, and while these laws are naturally and properly kept, they are useful and significant. But when they are carefully intellectualized and integrity is taken out of them, they become a danger to our lives. All forms of knowledge are in themselves good, But the perversions of knowledge are now deemed necessary to success. And while we consider to do it this way and keep on making these perversions, we shall continue to fail, because the success is in the integrities and not in the breaches of integrity. So all the forms of knowledge that we know can help us to become aware of the one knowledge that is necessary, that we are creatures on a long journey through the caravansaries of this world, that we are wanderers in a strange desert of waiting, but that we are in a way wonderfully guided by the wisdom that has been given to us. We are in this world, but we are not destined to stay here. We are not here to become the source of great monuments on the physical plane of life. We are here in a great system of instruction, divinely inspired and divinely maintained. We are all at school together. Now we're in the kindergarten, or one of the lower grades, if we're having a little trouble. But someday we will become grade school teachers. Then we will become instructors in high schools. Then maybe we will be professors in colleges or universities. Those are the degrees of our hatship. That is the degree of the esoteric order of things, that we shall rise to higher levels, but always to serve and to teach. But in all this teaching, everything depends upon one point, that all we can actually teach is to inspire the person to grow by virtue of his own integrities and his own potentials. The person can grow because the potential for growth is there. The inside is divine and it's going to come out. But in the meantime, these professors and so forth, the great world teachers and all the others, can only remind us that if we live the life, we shall know the doctrine. It will give us the courage to go and work on ourselves, and using their example as an inspiration, attempt to do that which they have done so faithfully. All of this is part of how to grow. And I think if we just become a little more discriminating and not too enthusiastic, we can observe for ourselves those types of instruction which are useful, normal, and proper, and at the same time can avoid involvement in something that we do not regard as proper. We are all searching, and we haven't the discretion to know always what is best. But if we always say to ourselves what is kind, what is good, and what is inspired by the love of God and our fellow men, and is without exploitation and without ostentation, we won't be very far from the facts. So we hope each one of you, under this type of thinking, will be able to solve some of these problems for yourself. Thank you very much.